Welcome to Campaign Chronicles. Here's what's going on beneath the spin. Today we have a special guest, Robert Zimmerman.
Great to be with you.
Great to be with you. So you've been around Democratic politics at a very high level for a very long time.
I started very young.
Very young.
Thank you.
I was not a diss on you, my friend. But here's the question I got. Right now, everyone is so focused on the GOP primary and the chaos there that I think it's given President Obama a strength by comparison. But take us behind what Democrats are saying when they really objectively look at the Obama re-elect in their more nervous moments.
There aren't nervous moments. It's a nervous continuum, okay? Let's be realistic.
But we are New York Democrats.
Exactly right.
Exactly
right.
Independents.
And the irony of it is that if you look at the lay of the land, obviously Democrats want to keep their focus on the Republican race. And it's very ironic that even as Newt Gingrich is doing better in this process, I must get about 20 to 30 emails a day from the Obama campaign and the Democratic National Committee attacking Mitt Romney.
Sure.
No matter how well Gingrich does, they're still focused on Mitt Romney in this election.
They don't want to run against him.
That's exactly right. And he polls well, and they don't want to talk about that. But the overarching issue in terms of Democratic politics is moving up the enthusiasm amongst the Democratic electorate. And you're seeing that enthusiasm gap play out in any number of different ways. You're seeing it in polling. You're seeing it in terms of lower dollar fundraising. Mm-hmm. You're seeing it just basically in the fact that you're not seeing that level of participation.
Doesn't that necessarily come at the expense of swing voters and independents? The more you focus on the old school populist appeals, especially to unions, don't you run a very real risk of alienating the independents, the swing voters, the centrists, who the president is going to ultimately depend upon?
Well, that's the fine line you have to walk. Now, if you look at the State of the Union, for example, his focusing on the fairness theme played well with the Democratic base. But I would argue there's a real audience for that amongst independent voters, too. And I think when you also look at his record, bringing back the automotive industry, putting America back to work with slow but consistent recovery, that's also giving Democrats issues to rally behind, and also I think can play well with independents. Part of the problem with this administration was not the messaging issue, but the fact that they lost control of the agenda. And the president would give a very profound speech on immigration reform without the legislation to back it up, or talk about climate change and not stand up for the Kerry bill, for example. And engage in
big speech, but not backing specific legislation.
That changed with the American Jobs Act. Right. That was a piece of legislation that gave him a national platform, and it really has enabled him to mobilize the country.
All right, final thing, this fantasy talk about replacing Biden with Hillary, I think it's just sort of, fantasy talk parlor games, but tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Every political pundit who wants to be quoted brings up replacing Joe Biden for vice president. It is completely delusional. Not only does Hillary Clinton not want to run for vice president and made that very clear, but the president has made it very clear he wants Joe Biden to run, and Joe Biden wants to run. So there you have it, right? So there you have it. It's great for political pundits with too much time on their hands.
Okay, Robert Zimmerman, good to see you, my friend.
Good to be with you.
All right, that's all for us for Campaign Chronicles. Have a good weekend.